Number 13. So, been doing the sales networking thing. Been reaching out to a bunch of them. I'm at about probably 200 now. I'm filming this the same week that I filmed the last one, so it's been probably about 5 days. And surprisingly great results from it. I mean, a lot of these people don't respond. Probably, I would say around or a little bit over 90% just never respond, and that's okay. But, the 10 to 20 responses that I did get were, very welcoming and very understanding and actually impressed. Most of the guys that responded gave me kudos because, most kids don't reach out. Most kids do the easy work and just easy apply online. But it's definitely a way to differentiate yourself from the herd. And I'm kind of finding as I explore different career ventures, as I explore different opportunities, it seems like a big thing, but then when I actually do it, it's like, oh, now I'm just in the 1% of people because most people just don't want to work hard. And some of these people have very good positioning, but they still just don't want to put in the effort. And the effort is what counts. And so I think for anyone, like any type of job you're looking for, you just go on LinkedIn, look up, your preferred career, whatever it's called. For me, it was like account executive, SDRs. Maybe go for who their boss would be or who the hiring manager would be of a type of company you want to work for. So maybe you want to work for, tech, you want to work for, biotech or whatever. You go in those companies, you look up, that type of whatever job, and then just reach out and say match your experience with the job posting in the note. Like you do add a note, you have to do premium for free for a month. But I mean, if you're not willing to put in your credit card, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, it's really simple. And then it's just a numbers game. It's sales. So I kind of realized that's how sales works. And so if I just treat it like an actual pipeline and do regular follow-ups and how you normally would, then, I'll be successful. And I mean, I have one, lead. I've had a phone interview already, and they've already moved me to the next steps of the interview process because the account executive reached out on my behalf to the hiring manager. And so I got a direct in. And it just looks good, right? Because it looks like you're taking the initiative. It looks like you want it and you're willing to work and put effort in to get it. And that's all they're looking for. Anyone can learn the skills of a job. They just, it's about the attitude that they're looking for. So you show them that good attitude. You put your experience, in alignment with the job description and what you want to do. And you'll probably be surprised with the results. And so I'm thinking in a similar way, I'm not too well versed in angel investing and venture capital. I don't really even know what the seed A, series A, whatever seed, series A, series B, whatever it's called. I'm not even really sure what all this shit does, but I know it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be, looks a mile wide, but then it's going to end up being an inch deep. And so I'm thinking if I use a similar, tactic that I'm doing right now for networking, where I'm, outreaching, sales professionals that, for, software companies that I would want to work for. If I take a similar approach to angel investors and then eventually to venture capitalists, I'll probably find similar results where 90% won't respond, but the ones that do will be like, oh, that's interesting. And then they'll hear about Archi, and then, we can talk. And I'm not even necessarily sure that we need capital at the moment, but, just having those connections and having the option is kind of what I'm looking for. Because what I've learned from Horowitz and from everyone is, the number one job of the CEO is to manage their own psychology. So that's why I'm starting the meditation, as you'll hear later today in the video. But the other thing is their network. And, as a young CEO, you have to go above and beyond. You have to, reach out and make those connections, right? Because most CEOs have worked in the industry 10 years and then they branched out and started their own company. So they used all the connections they've had for the years they've been working there. But for a young CEO, right, it's not the same. You have to build it. And it can be built, right? I mean, it's been done before. But I feel like I have to take the initiative and take that extra step. So I'm going to use what I'm learning in my sales jobs and from this outreach process to the sales professionals, and probably reach out to, angel investors, VCs, what have you, find their emails somehow, or even just reach out on LinkedIn. But yeah, that's how I'm tying it into Archi for this week. So next is the big habit change. So there's certain habits I never want to get rid of, like stretching, exercise, working, the basics. I added in meditation at night, which has been very helpful. But there's other habits that, they're good for a time, but they can come and go. And I'm kind of learning that life's a lot about temperance. And furthering that, it's a lot about, having the tools in your back pocket and wielding them when you need them, right? So having the tool of discipline and being able to wake up at 4 every morning for 4 months, most people would laugh at it, but I mean, that's an incredible tool that I can tap into whenever I need to. Like now I know I'm that type of person that could do something like most people would consider crazy for an extended period of time. And so I think becoming that person was incredibly valuable, whether I was even productive in the mornings or not, whether I would have been more productive later after work or not. Becoming that person was worth it. But I think now that I've become that person and I know I can do it, I have the confidence to be, just change it around. And so instead of waking up at 4, I'm going to move it back to like 5:50 so I can wake up with the sunrises. And, ultimately, it just makes me happier to not wake up in the dark, right? It's a little depressing to wake up and know that it's in the dark. But it's also, pretty encouraging, I guess motivating in a way, because everyone else is asleep. So that part's cool of it. I do like that aspect, but now I think I'm to a point, and my focus is to a point where I can work, later in the day, despite the distractions that may come with the house that I live in. And so that's the big change. A lot of the habits that I said in the My Insane Schedule video, those habits have kind of been dropped. I'm kind of focusing on a few things. So, like exercise, stretching, meditation, reading are like the few habits that I have, plus work, obviously. But those habits I think are going to stay tried and true. I want to keep those habits for a long time, and maybe they change based off what happens, but yeah, for now I kind of like where that's at. So I was just thinking about a new perspective I now have on goals, and why I've kind of altered what I do every day. So previously I would write down my goals every morning, and this was good because it made what I was shooting for and the destination always at the top of my mind. And so I was always focused on it, always knew where I was heading. But I think what happened was I got too focused on the future, and I got too focused on things I couldn't control, right? Like, you can't control whether you're gonna make $1 million by a certain time. You can control, who you network with, where you put your money, where you allocate your time, where you allocate your attention. You can control these things. And I think that by writing it every morning, I got really focused, but I also got really stressed out because there's so much I couldn't control that it just, it was overwhelming to me. So I've kind of altered and shifted my view on it. And now I just do daily habits that I know in the end will yield uh, a certain result. So I have, I still have my time that I work on my business. I still work out every day, and I still do, the sales job for however long that takes. And then I have other habits, like meditation to calm my mind, because that was something I was struggling with, and I think writing the goals every morning was perpetuating that issue. And then I also stretch. So I'm just, trying to build habits that will slowly over time compound, and I'll end up getting to the destination anyways. Because I feel like I've written my goals enough, and I'm dedicated enough to a point where I just need to start focusing on what I can control. I think I've, um, changed my perspective and changed my mindset on what money is, how it's made, and how to get there. I've kind of gotten out of the rat race thinking, and I understand how wealth is created at this point. So now I just need to continuously focus on what I can control and continuously do certain habits every day and not drive myself crazy in the process, and create my mind create a place in my mind where I can just be calm, and then enjoy, the fruits of my labor, enjoy um, what I've what I'm creating, because one of the least enviable things, in my opinion, is when I hear someone that's like really good at what they do. Like the example was Lewis Hamilton, right? Like he won his seventh F1 championship, and he was going for his eighth, and then he lost it in the last lap to Max Verstappen. And so, like, you hear him talk, and he doesn't even sound happy. He doesn't even sound like he enjoyed any of it. He just like constantly desires to win it. It's just a race to to keep winning. And he never got to a point of peace. He never got to a point of happiness. And it's like, yeah, he gained everything, but like, what did he really gain? And I think it's so much better to, be a silent, whatever, however much money you make. It's not really a competition to me. It's a battle with myself of how can I get to freedom, and how can I be at peace with myself and be happy with myself, and have a good life. I think that's the mindset shift I needed. So yeah, bit different than before when I first started this, but it's where I'm at now.